In this video, I'm gonna share with you a strategy that is gonna make your contracts bigger with much less work. We all wanna work less, right? What if there was a way to get bigger contracts without working as hard? Is that even possible? There is. Today in this video, I'm gonna share with you what I call bidding packages to increase your contract value, increase your negotiating ability, and basically destroy your competition and leaving them with zero chance of beating you. Now, I work a lot with smaller companies, subcontractors, small GCs. I've also worked with the big guys, so I kind of know what everybody needs and what everybody wants. And one of the things that we've picked up over the years, or that I've picked up over the years, is this concept of bidding packages. So in the last few videos of this series, we've talked about leads, we've talked about follow-ups, we've talked about our overall strategy. And this is kind of like the missing piece I purposely left to the end. So what are bidding packages? So normally, if you're a sub, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna find these jobs to bid, and you're gonna normally bid one trade, one chance, one GC, one shot of winning the job. And it's almost like a hit or miss. Either your price is good and you win, or you don't. Or what if we built up a team? And a lot of you guys, especially the UGCs that are watching this, if you're a general contractor and you are already subcontracting your trades, why not bid as both a GC and as a sub? Because you're gonna get the best of both worlds. And you're gonna be able to manage the project as a GC, but you're gonna win the money like a sub, which in a lot of cases, subcontractors make 30 or 40% profit margins, while GCs are over here making 8 to 10%. So who's actually making more money? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna bid packages. We're gonna bid multiple trades that sequentially go together. So for example, demo, framing, drywall, insulation, and paint. That's a great sequence. There's going to be a few things that are going to be accomplished. Number one, you're going to get a bigger contract value. So let's do some math here. Let's say I'm doing an interiors package. I find a retail store. I go to Blue Book or Dodge and I find a retail store. I call up the owner. Hey, I'm interested in bidding, or the GC, I'm interested in bidding this job. Boom, they give me the green light and now we're bidding it, right? Let's say my drywall and framing is, I don't know, 50 grand, right? Framing and drywall, $50,000 contract. Let's say the paint of that is, I don't know, 15 grand. Let's say there's some demo, some minor demo, selective demo. Let's say that's another 25 grand. And let's say I want to do the insulation is another, I don't know, 8 grand. And let's say there's flooring, and the flooring is another 50 grand, right? Let's just say it's not that hard to EC as a sub. And let me explain how to do it. If I'm a drywall guy and my contract value is 50 grand, right? I can easily increase this to 148,000, which I just showed you, without having to do more work. I'm just going to build a couple more trades on the job. What I would do, it would benefit me to build up a team that can, and by the way, these don't have to be employees. These could be piece workers or subcontractors or third tier contractor. And I'm going to share with you in a second how to find these guys. You want to build your own list of like framers, hangers, finishers, concrete guys, iron workers, drywall guys, or whatever. You want to build that list. And you're going to hire these guys on production. So you're going to pay them by board count, by linear foot of framing, by cubic yard of concrete, whatever their deal is. But you're going to basically hire them per job, per trade. Okay. And they're going to do labor only. You're going to pay them typically as weekly, and you're going to be responsible for all the materials and managing the project administratively. Okay. So you're going to manage like a GC, although you're a sub. And what happens is we're going to inflate our price to, in this case, triple by bidding one job. So benefit number one is we're going to have an increased contract value. Number two is we're going to have a lot more money to negotiate with, right? Because now if we're putting in our profit and overhead and supervision and all this stuff, and the GCs are always going to want you to break it down by trade. So I actually have this great story of one of my clients that we bid a Camping World. It's a big like department store that was specifically for camping. And they were doing a finishes upgrade. So there's some demo, some framing. They were building a mezzanine. They were converting some walls into a storefront. So in the last video, I talked about how to follow up. So I found them the lead. I did the estimate. We submitted. We followed up. And then finally, the estimator says, hey, we won the job. Go talk to Lori, the project manager. So I called up Lori and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in working with you. I want to start working with your company. I submitted my proposal. I want to make sure you received it. Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, perfect. Can we talk about the numbers? Yeah, sure. Boom. So she pulled up her numbers. I'm like, where do we need to be at to win this job? And then she's like, by the way, before I give you those numbers, can you change this? Can you change that? Can you change that? So basically she changed everything. And it goes back to what I say all the time. The first bid you submit is always a preliminary. So I went back, I redid the estimate, resubmitted it. And she comes back and says, all right, I noticed on your proposal that on the bottom, you put in red letters, if multiple trades are awarded, a significant discount will be provided. And I'm like, so she's like, what's that discount? So I go, well, I'm glad you asked. What do you have for framing? What do you have for drywall? What do you have for paint? What do you have for this? What do you have for demo? So she basically showed me her whole hand. She told me what all the numbers were. I went back, I I revised my estimate to fit the parameters of what the total contract was. And I was able to beat that number. So what does that do? Two things. Number one, it's going to increase my contract value. We talked about that a second ago. Number two, it's going to give us negotiating power. And number three, it's going to destroy our competitors. So here's what happens. When you break down the price, framing, drywall, this, that, right? In our proposal, we have to break it down because they always want it like that. But when we negotiate, we're going to negotiate the package, okay? Because what happens is within each one, we got to put supervision. We have to put its own equipment. We have to put its own profit, its own overhead, all that stuff, right? But if we get awarded the whole thing, a lot of that supervision overlaps. So we don't have to double dip. Like we don't have to charge supervision 5 times. We could charge it once. And the profit, if I'm at 30, let's say I'm at 30%, right? That's a lot of money off of what's 30% off of, let's use our example, 148,000. It's not a big contract. It's a small contract, but let's say 23, that's $44,000 on a job that you could probably do in a month or two. And you could probably have multiple of these at the same time. So I have room to maneuver money around, right? I could say, hey, if you give me the package, I could drop my profit margin to 20%. So I could cut out 10% of my profit margin, which is, so if I was at 48 times 10%, I can give them an additional discount, 29,000 or 30,000, right? You see that? So I'm gonna be able to come in at like 30,000 instead of 44,000, right? That's a big discount on those trades. That's a big discount. And the fourth thing it accomplishes is that the GCs like to single source to give multiple trades to one company because it's less management. Now, this only usually applies to like small to medium jobs. If you're doing a high rise, there's no possible way they're going to give you like 5 trades because that's too much of that job. But if you're doing 100, 200, 300, $500,000 contracts, those are small contracts in construction. Those, they would be more than happy to give you a couple of trades because it's just going to be better. If you single source, that's one person to call, one payment application, one set of revisions, one set of change orders. It's only one. So it's much easier to manage. And what's the result? You're going to close more jobs at a higher contract value, and you're going to build better relationships and better service with your GCs because you're giving them the full package, a better price, a better deal, single source. You're actually going to help them manage the job better. Okay, so that's one of the benefits. So by bidding packages, you're going to get more money in your contracts. It's a better sequence. You're going to have happier GCs. You're going to get more. You're going to just get more contracts. You're going to have negotiating power. It's just better. Now the question is, how are you going to find the guys? It's very, very simple. You are going to recruit them by going to job sites. This is going to be a little old school. So those guys that are used to computers and stuff, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone here. So we used to have a guy when I worked in drywall. His full job was to drive around construction sites and recruit people. And because what happens is we started getting framers, hangers, and finishers and acoustical seating guys. And we had this Rolodex, this list of people. Boom, 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 boom. Once we won the job, whenever I needed somebody, I would just call, I need a framer. Let me just go down the list and see who's available and see who my preference is, because obviously some guys are better. I'm going to call this guy. Oh, this guy, this guy. Oh, I'm not available till 2 weeks from now. Okay, let me call the next guy. Boom. And then I would negotiate the deal. Boom, boom, boom. They would give me their price, their production rates or whatever it was. And I would negotiate the deal, kind of like bidding. And then I would hire them. And then when I need the hangers, I would call the hangers. And when I need the finishers, the same thing. And that's how we would build up our labor force. Now, if you're in places like California and there's a lot of regulations on like employees and stuff like that, it might be a little harder. If you have union in your area, it might be a little harder. You have to figure out how to staff your jobs. Like in California, for example, I know that from what I've been told from my clients, you have to have a license, even if you're going to be a sub. So like here in South Florida, you don't need that. I can go hire, if I have a contract with a GC, let's say I'm a drywall contractor and I have a contract with my GC, he pulls his master permit, I can hire whoever I want, licensed or not. Okay, so that's my preference. So it depends on your area. I think I've made a great case on why you should bid packages. And if you want to learn exactly how to bid these packages, right in the description below, I'm going to put a link to our Contractor Sales Academy so you can check it out so that you can learn how to bid packages and how to do just everything in construction sales. So go down there and click it, and I'll see you in the next video.